know what it's like to be an underdog. I know what it's like to be laughed at. I know what it's like to have a dream, have no one believe it. It means it's all to see these people, the ones who laughed at you or told you that you can't, they aren't you. They don't have to wake up every day and feel how you feel. They don't have to hate the reflection they see in the mirror looking back at them. They don't have to go to bed at night feeling empty because there's something they desperately want. That's you, and that's on you. So do something about it. You weren't born to live second-rate existence. You weren't born to let your dreams, your hopes, and your aspirations pass you by. You were born to
2023 with the mindset that you're going to win. No one and nothing, even your fears, can stop you from becoming the person you desire to become.
Y'all want to work on your goals and your dreams, but you've been working all year round. So now, even though your internal dialogue is screaming for you to grind for something more, it's time to step into the shoes you were meant to wear.
Good morning, everyone. How you guys doing today? Let me know if you guys can hear me okay. Good morning. Good morning. All right, guys. So thanks for joining me today. And thank you also for giving me the day off last Monday. You guys can blame Brent for that. Brent had me out there fishing for what did we catch out there, bud? We caught some trout.
Sea trout, snook. Yeah. Lewis is a fishing machine, guys.
Oh,
Don't
yeah.
ever go fishing with Lewis. You won't even catch a fish. He'll just sit there and snag them. No way. He's awesome.
Yeah, Brent forced me to take the day off against my will, and we went out there and had a good time. Like Brent was saying, if you guys want to catch a lot of fish, bring me along, because I don't catch any. I help everyone else. Awesome. All right, good. Well, thank you guys for being here. Does anyone want to jump on real quick and let us know if you guys got any wins? You guys got any good, exciting news from last time we met?
I got some wins.
Go for it, sweetheart. What do you got?
From my seller's workshop, I landed a land deal. I got 4 acres that were coming up on the market, and I locked in from my walkthroughs 2 new listings. So they're getting ready and getting their house spruced up so I could go take pictures and get it on the market. Also, I got contacted from my YouTube video, and she will be jumping on this morning. Bree, she signed up with EXP.
Nice.
And she's in Texas.
That's awesome.
That's
So
great.
yeah, 2 years and I got my first sponsor. Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, it's never too late.
I need an agent in Texas.
There you go.
Not for real. I got a client looking for properties in Texas. I put it on the chat for your EXP, and I haven't heard from anybody. So if you guys have someone in Texas, hook me up, please.
The best way to do that is to go on EXP Workplace and join the referral group for that state. That's what I do.
Let me write that down.
They will bite like fish. You will not have a problem.
Yeah. You know what I do too is I actually look through the old threads on the message board. So like if I become a member of the Texas referral group, I'll go through and see who is the person that's being recommended the most, and I'll reach out to them directly too. Also, if Texas is a big place, so if it's a specific like city, like let's say I don't know, just name any town, Texas, right? You just type any town, Texas into the search bar in EXP Workplace, and then it'll show you all the conversations people have had about
Oh,
who's the person in that place to recommend.
okay. He's looking in San Antonio, San
Okay,
Antonio, and Comfort Christie.
Oh, yeah,
Location.
you'll have so many people to pick from.
All right, awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem.
And
Sorry about
one last thing, I had such fun. I joined Vanya's group for a role play, and you guys are awesome. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. Right now, I can only give you Wednesdays, but I'll try to jump on as many times as I can. Thank you all. It was
Thank
great.
Thank you. Belinda caught me off guard.
That's awesome. Yeah, that shows you guys that, you know, one person having an idea that's a little uncomfortable, it brings everybody together. I know Ivani was probably like, oh, I wonder if anyone will show up. I wonder if this is any good. Maybe I won't be that good of a teacher, but you just put it together and people show up and you guys build with each other.
No, I'm really, really enjoying myself. I thank you all. Thank you.
That's amazing. It's good to hear. Anyone, anyone else would like to share?
About a year ago, I had clients that the guy couldn't figure out why his credit score was so low because they'd worked real hard. Well, it turned out he had identity theft. And for the last year, he just said, you know, we got to pull out and try to get back on our feet. They did. They did a really, really good job. His credit score went up 190 points in a year.
Nice.
And they are back on track. And I took them yesterday and I said, well, before you sign the contract to put your earnest money down on new construction, why don't you just run it by your lender one more time? So they're doing that today. And it was a really good success story. First time homeowners, young kids. I was really, really happy for them. So it was great.
That's good to hear. Yeah, that was an unfortunate story from what I remember you saying, but
Yeah.
good to know that they're back on track.
Yep.
Yeah, and Brent, you know, while you got the mic, I want you to share with everyone. You know, you've been a little bit over a year in the business now, right? And Brent shared with me the other day that he's had now last weekend was the busiest weekend he's ever experienced as a real estate agent in the business, right? So why do you think that is, Brent? Do you think that's just like a fluke, or do you think that's everything that's compounded until now and it's all starting to show itself?
Well, I can only say that I tried to listen to what you said, and you just said keep putting in the work. And what a man sows, he'll eventually reap. And that's a God principle. So I believe in that. And I've worked hard even when there wasn't much fruit. I've been really discouraged at times and really took at YouTube hard. And I was pretty sick during the summer months, couldn't get out much. So I said, well, I can sit and write scripts. And in July, I had no YouTube videos. Now I think I've got 89 on the channel, and people are coming down from Massachusetts and out of state. They're seeing me a little bit. I'm not a Louis Leva, so don't worry those.
Well, that takes a long time.
But I think
I've been at that for 10 years almost.
yeah, broadcast seed spreading is different than row planting. Of if you know corn planting, it's they plant corn differently than they plant wheat. And I don't know, I just work hard like people, and I don't know. That's all I can tell you. I don't know. It hasn't been a success. I did come very close. I thought, man, I might actually contract 4 deals on the same weekend. And as it turns out, I only did 1.
Okay.
But
good.
it was close. Felt
Yeah,
good.
One is great, brother. One a week is 50 closings a year, and so just think of it that way.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, that you guys could break it down, and I'm like, oh my God, that's all I got to do, write 1 contract a week, and that would be 50 deals a year. Like that's amazing year, guys. Really good. I mean, you have some fallout, so you may have to do, you know, 5 a month instead of 4 if you want to get to that 50 mark. But you know, it's you're on the right path. Setting those small goals really does go a long way. Now, Ivani, I want you to real quick, if you wouldn't mind. Ivani learned something really important this last week. She learned about commercial properties and cap rates. Do you want to share your story?
Yes, so my friend, good morning, guys, sorry. My friend, she owns, actually the yoga studio where I learned how to do yoga, and she contacted me. I had sold her house in Nutley in 2020. So she contacted me, she said she has her property on the market, but she would like me to come see it and run some numbers with her. So I called Luis because I don't know how to do this, and I gotta say at the beginning when you started talking, my brain was just like all over the place. But once you gave me that formula, everything clicked in. So it was very interesting doing the comps and just using the formula. Um, I learned a lot. And then you asked me to call the agents, and I called the agents that sold properties around the area to find out some of the properties don't have the profit and expenses listed on the MLS. So I reached out to the agents, and I gotta say, out of 4 people that I called, there was just one guy who was I'm sorry for my language, but he was an asshole.
Yeah.
And but everybody else, I was very surprised to find out that they were very helpful, and they would just, I told them I'm new, I've never done this before, and they gave me all the numbers. They said, if you need any help, I even asked them if they had other properties. There was this lady, she sent me other properties for me to go see and compare to mine. And as I said, only this one guy was really nasty. My friend's still trying to sell it herself because, of course, they don't want to pay us, but it was a good experience. And even us, Joe was with me, and Raquel, we went there and we tried to find out the pain, what she was selling. We were talking to her, trying to find out what she was doing after this. And then we went back, that was Wednesday, and then we went back on Friday. We shoot some videos, some content in there. And even if I don't get the property, I get the marketing, right? I was actually thinking about doing, I have to talk to her this week, and I don't know what you think about it, Louis, like just doing a non-exclusive agreement just so that I can put it on the MLS.
At this point, you got to do anything and everything to try to gain her confidence, because it seems like she's very weary about selling her place and giving it away. But the problem with you guys are going to see with a lot of sellers, not just commercial sellers, but sellers in general right now, is that they're going to be hard to adapt to this new market. And they're still living in 2021 and 2022. So that being the case, you have to work a little harder. You have to jump through a couple more hoops and show them that the numbers. And Ivania broke it down for her very strategically on a profit and loss statement, and showing them, look, if somebody buys your place, this is what they're gonna make on a monthly basis if they pay you what you want. And this is what someone is likely to pay you, because they need to make some money too. And guess what? Last year, you may have gotten the numbers you're looking for because interest rates were, for commercial lending, were like 3, 4, 5%. Now they're at 7 to 8%. So that means literally the profit has been almost cut in half, by the portion of it that's being financed is being affected very much. So you can't expect for the person to still be willing to pay you the same, because who in their right mind, what investor because you know what, someone's going to buy an investment property like Ivani has, is not someone who just woke up today and said, hey, I thought, buying real estate's a good idea. I'm going to go buy my first property and it's going to be Ivani's property. No, the people who are buying that property are going to be people who know real estate, who know what it is to be an investor. They know their numbers. So when they come to make an offer, they know that, hey, I got a cash flow, because if I don't make at least a couple $100 a month on this deal, why would I even take the chance on doing it? Because I'm going to get calls that this needs repairs, that needs repairs, this expense is going to come out of nowhere. So you need that little bit of a cushion. And if your numbers don't reflect a little bit of a cushion, you're going to have a hard time attracting investors. If you do get an offer, it's going to be lower than what you have it listed for by a big margin anyway. So you have to really approach this methodically and from an analytical perspective instead of an emotional one, because we've all seen people overpay for single family homes, right? We saw that the last couple of years, people overpaying by a big margin. Investors don't do that. Investors don't be like, oh my God, I love the location. It's so close to the school. I'm going to overpay you by $1 million. That doesn't happen. you know, these guys and girls that buy these properties, they crunch their numbers. And if they don't crunch their numbers, their lender crunches their numbers. And if it doesn't cash flow and make sense, guess what? You're not getting a loan. You know, and no investor is gonna be like, yeah, I'll put in the difference. You know, no, the investors aren't putting in the difference. You know, so it really does come down to you doing your numbers when it comes to commercial property and it's sticking to them. So Ivania right now, she did her job and she'll circle back and say, you know, have you given any thought? You know, just, you know, you gotta remember, you know, this is a different market we're in right now, and we gotta see, you know, what the market will bear. So what's been her reservation, you think, Ivania? You think it's been that she thinks she's giving it away or she wants more money?
They want, and it's funny that you say that about crunching the numbers, because when I was here with Raquel and Joe, we're like, we're planning to invest. So we're like, oh, you know, maybe this is a property that we can go in. But once after we went and saw it, and then we drove around town and we started talking, you know, what can we put into this retail space? The options are very limited. So what you're saying about the profit and all of that, what she's trying to get for that property, I don't see it as realistic, because the space is so small that, and then it's in this part of Harrison that Harrison has now been divided into like two little sections.
Mhm.
And it's like the one section that is around the path, and then they have all these Vermella buildings, and they have everything in there. They have restaurant, they have daycare,
Yeah.
they have freaking
Beautiful.
gyms, they have everything.
Yeah,
So
it's beautiful there.
drove around for like an hour, like it was really cool because we got very creative. I love that we had the opportunity to do that. But what you're saying about the numbers, but what I believe is like, because she keeps saying, oh, we think we might keep it, we think we might keep it. I feel she's being unrealistic because she spent a lot of money on the renovation, and
Mhm.
for her this is more of like a sentimental place, because
Yeah.
she always wanted to have a yoga studio. So she bought the building and she did it there, and now she put all this money on it. She actually has a mortgage against it. I think it's $660,000 on it.
Okay.
So just that, and then she has a partner as well, and I know their relationship it's not the best. But I believe it's more of that sentiment, like she doesn't want to let it go, because you know, we think we all, when we have kids, we all think our kid is the most beautiful and the best, right? So
Yeah.
she thinks her space is the best and is going to be able to have this. I do see the apartments going for what she's saying, but because the market is calling for it, but the retail space is definitely not.
Okay. Yeah, maybe we'll jump into that just a little bit and show everybody what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, before we do any of that, anyone else want to share anything? Anybody have any wins that you want to talk about?
Good morning.
Hey, Sarah, how you doing, sweetie?
Good, how are you?
Doing good, doing good.
Can I ask you a question?
Of course, go for it.
Okay, so I have an investor that I'm working with right now,
Mhm.
but he's not like he doesn't care about making money. All what he cares about is garaging his money into real estate.
Mhm.
If he can make $200 out of a rental, he's okay with that. So he has a pre-approval for 400,000,
Yeah,
and we wanna stay in the 300 budget right now. $300,000 budget. I just didn't know how to calculate for him to make that $200 a month.
good question.
Yeah, so can you show me?
Good question. Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna actually, that's part of what Ivania is also dealing with right now. So we'll cover both of those in the same example. But
Okay.
what
And
you,
having a win, I did get a listing in North Brunswick.
nice, that's a great market.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's a beautiful one too.
Mhm.
So if anybody has a buyer, please
Oh,
approach me.
that's awesome.
Congrats.
Thank
Yeah,
you
it's
so
beautiful.
much. Thank you.
Yeah, so what you're saying, Sarah, is that you have a buyer, you have an investor who is approved up to 400 grand. So he's not buying cash, he's buying with a loan, right?
Yes.
Okay. And he's not necessarily looking for like a huge cash flow. He's just looking for appreciation.
Yes.
Okay. So he just wants to get his foot into the door of real estate is what you're saying. He just wants to get a deal going.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, what you're saying is pretty much, because what you have to see is this, guys. And I met a couple through my YouTube channel who was visiting here in Naples right now, and they're Canadian, and they're telling me that in Canada, like we think that 5% cap rates are very low. 5% cap rate is what an investor, if you guys remember in your real estate school, a cap rate is the amount of money that the property makes after all expenses. So you got your income minus your expenses, and that gives you your net operating income or your cap rate, right? Your cap rate is calculated by taking the amount that's left over, your net profit, and dividing it by the sales price. And that gives you a capitalization rate, aka cap rate. So I know a lot of you probably were struggling with that on your real estate exam because it's a little bit of different math than what you guys are used to. It's more financial math. So the cap rate is very important for investors, but depending where you are, some investors, they're necessarily not too concerned about the cap rate because the appreciation is so high in those areas that they'll forego their cap rate because the appreciation is like crazy. So let me give you guys an example of what I mean. So in Canada, in Vancouver, that's where they're from. That's the most expensive market in the entire Canadian province or entire country or whatever, right? So the cap rates there are 2%, he said. And he said people are buying 2% cap rates. That's like ridiculous. It would take you 50 years to get your money back. But he said the reason why people do that is because the appreciation is so high. So even though you're not making any money on these properties monthly or yearly, barely anything, there's so little inventory and there's so much demand in Vancouver that these homes or these properties, these multifamily properties, they appreciate so much because of the demand that even though they didn't make it through cash flow, they're making it through appreciation, through the house being worth more money over the years. So he said that that's like a normal thing in Canada. He's like, will that happen in the United States? Well, will our 5 caps, 6 caps turn into 2 and 3 caps? You know, well, what you have to know is that in better areas, you're going to see smaller cap rates. And in less desirable areas, you're going to see higher cap rates. Now, if you're confused by what I mean, a higher cap rate is better for the buyer. So it's like you getting a better price. So it's the opposite. So remember, think as an investor. If I'm paying less for a property, that's better for me. Okay. If I'm paying more for a property, that's better for the seller. With cap rates, it's the opposite. The lower the cap rate, the better for the seller. The higher the cap rate, the better for the buyer. You guys are following me? I hope. Did I lose anyone?
You repeat it again.
Yeah. So it's the inverse of what you would normally think as an agent, right? You think the lower someone pays, the better. The higher someone pays, the worse for an investor, but the better for the seller. With cap rates, it's the opposite. The lower you pay on a cap rate, let's say a 2 or 3 cap rate, that's better for the seller because that means they're getting more for their money. The higher cap rate you pay, a 5, a 7, or 8, or 10, double-digit cap rates are amazing. If you get double-digit cap rates, that's a home run. That's better for the buyer. So now that I'm explaining all this, I'm actually going to break it down and show you guys real life example on Ivania's transaction. And I'll also show you guys how you can take that example and use it on a single family, even if for Sarah's example. Okay. You guys good?
Yes.
All right. Awesome. All right. So we'll get started real quick. Let me see if Ivania, would you mind if I actually shared the spreadsheet that you and I were working on?
No, go ahead.
All right. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
While he's looking for that, can everybody say hello to Brianni Vasquez? She's in Waco, Texas, and she is also bilingual, hoping to gain her ground with that market in Texas.
Good
Hi,
morning.
welcome.
Hello.
Hello,
Hi,
welcome.
Brianni.
Welcome.
How are you?
Good, good.
Thank you
It's
for
nice to-
joining us.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for Belinda for sending me this meeting. Thank you.
No worries. And listen, if you have any questions or you want to make a comment, please just unmute yourself and just ask. This is an open forum. It's not formal. You don't have to raise your hand. You can just jump in. Okay.
I will. Thank you.
No problem. All right. So let me share my screen and what Ivania sent me. So if I'm not mistaken, Ivania's property has how many units, Ivania? 3 or is it 4?
It's 3. It's a retail space on the bottom and two-bedroom apartments on the top.
Okay, got it. Okay, so let me try to explain this to you guys. And at any point, if you guys want me to repeat what I said, please just stop me. Okay, so we've got here right now. I'm going to show you guys what we have. We have the units. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Parking, laundry, like any extra stuff you may have, you can add in here. And then here we have the purchase price. As you can see here, this is not the purchase price that's written in stone. This is just the purchase price we're playing around with. And here's the expected cap rate, right? Now, why did I put this? And I just actually added this in for Ivania's case, because in Ivania's case, I said, Ivania, why don't you find out what the going cap rates are for the area? That way we can play around with that cap rate and see what it does to our price. So what Ivania did was she went out and she started looking for properties that recently sold. She's got this one on Wheeler Point, this one on Elm Street, this one on Harrison Avenue, and this one on Schuyler Avenue. So these are the ones that sold. As you can see up here, she marked them down as sold. Let me just give her a little bit of a. Okay, cool. All right, so these are her these are her comps. All right, this is how you find out comps in commercial. So these are her comps. This is what they sold for. Okay, this is what they got for the property. One was 950, 1.2, 2.7, and 700,000. Here's the NOI. So this is what we need to figure out, guys. We need to figure out how much money did they actually make after all expenses. So for this one, she figured out that they made 82,000, and then that allowed us to actually find out what the cap rate was. Where did you get the cap rate for this one on Schuyler Avenue? Did you get the info?
I called the guy, but he said it was vacant, so that's what he used, but which is pretty high. That's not.
Yeah, so it was vacant, so somebody bought it with a vacant, or completely vacant, but they bought it for 735.
Yes,
Right?
he said that was actually a little bit higher than what the seller wanted, so he added his commission and it sold.
Okay, how many units was this? Do you remember?
No, but I can look it up really quick.
Okay. All right, so we're not going to give this one too much emphasis, because since it was vacant, they would have to base their rents off of what's called a pro forma. So I want you guys to understand the difference between an actual profit and loss or actual cap rate versus a pro forma. So the actual cap rate or the actual income and expenses right now, that's what you can base your cap rate off of. A lot of commercial agents, they use very funny math and tricky math to kind of confuse investors. They like to give you what's called pro forma cap rates. Pro forma cap rates, what that means is that in the very best case scenario, in the future, if you raise rents and if you maybe turn the garage into another apartment and then you build another 4-unit in the back, like they mess around with the numbers. This is what your rent projections could be. So don't ever confuse what a pro forma income is versus what the actual income is. As a matter of fact, when you're going to buy commercial real estate, what you need to look at is what's called the TTM, the trailing 12 months. The trailing 12 months will show you what has the owner actually collected over the last 12 months. I want to see all the times in the last 12 months that you've had people pay late. I want to see people who haven't paid. I want to see if you had any evictions. I want to see what expenses you've had. Is the boiler continuously breaking down every month? Like, I want to see the trailing 12 months, because a pro forma tells me nothing, because that's hypothetical thinking. Nobody has a crystal ball. We don't know what it's going to be in the future. We can only tell what it's been in the past. So you make your projections on what the last 12 months have been looking like. And that's how you can figure out, like, if you're going to buy it, that's what part of your due diligence process, right? You guys have heard that DD or due diligence word thrown around. That's what you look at even when you're preparing an offer. It'd be very smart for you to look at a trailing 12 months. But when you're doing your real number crunching, doing due diligence, that's what you look at. You look at everything that seller has been going through in the last 12 months. So in this case, we're just going to base it off of what we have available to us, right? We're looking to.
Sorry to interrupt you, but that's it says it's a small restaurant in the bottom, then it has a 2-bed and a 3-bed on the top.
So it's a 3-unit as well, right?
Yeah, and when I spoke to this guy of that $2 million property, that was the mean guy, but he even said, right now around this area, it's like 9%. He was so mean. He's like, oh, you can't even compare my property, blah, blah, blah. But he did mention, because it goes further away from the Ironbound area, the
Yeah.
caps are higher.
Yeah, exactly. So keep that in mind, guys. The cap rates are higher the further away you go to an area that's not as desirable. Okay, so keep that in mind. So, all right, let's just say he got a 9 cap. You got a 6 cap here on Elm Street. We don't know what the cap rates are for these, but if we were able to call these agents and figure out what the cap rates are, then we know, at least we have a basis to start. Now, I told Ivania, that area sounds to me like at least a 7 cap, right? Which means that it's not great and it's not terrible. You're not buying in like, Compton, and you're not buying in Beverly Hills. It's somewhere in between, so I told her maybe a 7 cap, maybe that makes sense. We don't have enough data here to really kind of like make our decision, but what we see here is that she has 2 active ones. This is her competition. So when you have competition, you have to pay a close attention to that, because this is who people are going to be pricing you against if there's an investor looking for something. So this one here offers a 6.9 cap. This one here offers a 6.5 cap. Okay. So this is telling me if I want to be competitive and maybe even beat these guys, I probably have to be somewhere like at a 7 cap. So if I come down here where I have this little green box and I plug in 7 versus 6, look what happens to the purchase price, right? Look what happens. Okay. The purchase price just went down by $200,000. If I go back to a 6 cap, it goes back up to 1.4. So you can see what 1% on a cap rate does to the purchase price. It's significant. If I was to go with a 9 cap, like the gentleman said, look what that does to the price. $955. Incredible, right? So these numbers can really either make or break your deal. 1%, 2% is a big margin, guys, big differential. All right, so let's continue down here and we'll figure out what we can come up with, right? So we've got $2,500 a month in this one unit. We've got $2,500 a month in this other unit. These are the apartment rentals that I believe she said that, you can rent out for that price. And then you've got this one here that's $3,500 for the yoga studio, I'm assuming, right? Okay, so that
Correct.
yeah. So what this does is that it automatically will figure out what your yearly income is, as you can see here. You see all this yearly income? So whatever you put in here for the monthly is what you get for the yearly. Okay? It'll automatically factor it for you. And then here you have the total for the month, and then you have the total for the year. Okay, so it's 102,000 total that they're making for the year. All right. Now, here we're going to get a little bit into the weeds, but I don't want you guys to pay too much attention to something that you don't understand, because it's more about the overall picture rather than each individual component here. So in this area, I put in a couple of things, because we have to also think, we don't just have to think like the seller, we have to also think like the buyer. Because if we don't think like the buyer, we're not going to know if this makes sense to anyone to buy. So the first thing we want to do is we figure out what I think Ivania might have erased a couple of things here, but what is the down payment that a buyer has to put on this property, right? Well, typically for commercial, it's about 25%. So in order to figure out that number, what that number would be, we would have to do something along the lines of this. So where are we here with? So this cell is H13. So we just do equals H13 times 25%, and that's the down payment. So $238,888. Okay, now the loan amount would be the purchase price minus the 25%, and that would give you the loan amount. So that would be H13. H13 minus 25%. Okay, so the loan amount would be $955,555. And that's, guys, that's given if we do get it for a 9 cap, right? We're just running numbers on a 9 cap right now. So the here where it says finance rehab, this is in the event that they're getting like private funds, or they're getting a hard money loan, or they're getting a construction loan. How much of the rehab is being financed or needs to be financed? If the buyer says, look, I think this house needs $100,000 worth of work, then you plug in 100 grand here, and then it'll automatically give you the total loan amount and all that. Okay. So right now we're working with a loan amount of 955. We're not factoring in any rehab. Now, given the fact that right now interest rates are a lot higher than they were last year, I'm just using a 7% right now. It's actually even higher than 7%. It's like 7.5. So if you're using this calculation, you can edit it very easily. All you have to do is take the monthly here. Where is it? Yeah. You take the monthly here, and instead of having a 7 in here, you can make that an 8. You can make it a 7.5. You can do whatever you want. Just double click on the cell and it'll allow you to do that. So this is telling us that the mortgage payment monthly is $5,574. This is based off a 25-year term, 7% interest, because commercial loans are very rarely done on a 30-year. Mostly they're done on 25, sometimes a 20, but sometimes they're on a 30. So if they're on a 30, fine, great, whatever. That's up to the buyer. But this is just giving you an idea. So $5,500 a month, that's $66,000 a year that it's costing them to have a mortgage on this property, if they have a mortgage. Some people buy cash, but let's just say that the majority of people, especially if it's not a A-class neighborhood where, you know, there's money dying to get into that place, you're probably going to deal with a financed buyer. Now, the next thing we want to do is figure out what our insurance cost is. Now, there's nothing here. So Ivani, I'm not sure if you remember or if you recall what it was.
Hold on. I don't think she gave me the insurance.
Okay, so don't worry, we're gonna use $300 a month. No, that's probably too cheap. Let's use $400 a month. We're gonna use $400 a month
Oh,
for
no, she said, I'm sorry. She did say 3,000 a year.
3,000 a year.
Yeah.
All right, so we use 250. Why is this changing? B35 times 12. B34. That's very strange. I'm putting in here $250 and then it's changing your loan amount. Why is it doing that? Okay, let me see 3,000. All right, I'm just gonna plug it in here because for some reason when I'm typing into this little cell, it's changing my mortgage amount. It's very strange. Okay, so 3,000 a year. And then does she have any common electric or gas charges?
No, because it's vacant.
No, when it's occupied, does she pay for any common electric or gas?
No, she said that she gave me, she said other expenses, 1,000 a year. That's right.
Okay. I find that very hard to believe that all her expenses are for 1,000 a year. And that's why I do these things, because I go line by line with them. So let's just say that hypothetically speaking, she has no common electric or gas, which in these older buildings in New Jersey, there usually is common electric or gas because you have a common hallway, you have a basement, you have some unit that shouldn't be anyone's responsibility but the owner's. But let's just say that there's nothing, zero. Now, taxes.
The way that they had it set up before, it was like the 2 apartments. It used to be one big apartment. Then
Okay.
her partner used to live there, and then she used to use the yoga studio.
Okay.
That's
Are they
why.
all separate, the utilities?
We didn't have access to the basement.
Yeah. So if that one apartment was converted into 2 apartments, that tells me that most likely both those apartments are running off one unit, 1 meter. So if that's the case, then you have to plug that in as an expense. Okay. These are the things that an investor will look at. Next, we have the taxes. Are the taxes 16,000 for the year, Ivani?
Yeah, she said
Okay.
it's being reassessed, but that's around how much they told her that it's gonna
Okay.
be.
Okay, and water and sewer for a 3-unit is pretty expensive, guys. I'm not sure if you guys have had the pleasure of paying for water and sewer for people who don't have to pay for their own water and sewer. They kind of take advantage of that. So what I'm seeing is about I would say close to $100 a month per unit. So that puts this more at like $3,000 a month, because if she's saying she's paying less, like I want to see the bills. Yeah, I want to see that. So what we have here, miscellaneous would be like anything out of the ordinary that you have to pay for. Maybe garbage is not collected, part of your taxes, maybe you have to pay that separate. Or maybe you have a guy that comes and cleans your hallways once a month or something, like, I don't know, but let's just go with, do you have something that is miscellaneous?
Yeah, she said miscellaneous, well, other expensive at $1,000.
1,000, okay. And vacancy factor, this is important because even though owners and agents always conveniently forget to include this, vacancy is very important for you to put because your underwriter is going to be adding that in anyway. The underwriter who underwrites the loan is going to use at least a 5% vacancy factor. So vacancy, even though you may say you're in the hottest neighborhood in all of the world, you still have to factor it in, which is 5% of what the gross NOI is, the net operating income. So 5% of the NOI would be, yeah, this doesn't look right.
No, because I did it out of the 8,500. I don't know why I got that number now.
Oh, okay, don't worry, don't worry. Equals
I think I did it after the expensive.
C28. Sorry for all the phone calls, guys. C28. Where were we? Vacancy times 5%. Okay, 5,100. That's how much the vacancy would be. Now, maintenance, this is one thing that I will allow someone to get away with if they say that they don't spend any money on maintenance, if and only if the fact that the tenants are responsible for their own maintenance. Okay, if you can show me the tenants are responsible for their own maintenance, then cool. But if not, you know, you have to factor that in as well because you're going to be getting the calls. Now in commercial, guys, this is a whole nother world. In commercial, your lease can specify everything is on the tenants, okay? Commercial tenants. Now the residential tenants upstairs on the second floor, your lease can't be like, oh God, if anything breaks, it's on you. The landlord has to carry some responsibility there. So here I will probably use 5% of maintenance. I would use it on the 2 apartments and not necessarily on the whole thing because you can get the tenant to cover their own maintenance. So 5% of 60,000 is like 3%, 3,000 a year or something like that. Okay, so now that gives us these totals. Okay, these are the totals that we have to work on now. So this here tells me what is my total expenses without a mortgage. So without factoring in a mortgage, my total expenses every month are $1,333. Nope, that's wrong. No, that's right. That's wrong because we didn't do this. Equals C 38 divided by 12. Okay, and this should be no, this is completely wrong. Yeah. C39. There we go. That's better. Okay, cool. All right, so every month we have $2,341 in expenses, and that is before any mortgage. Okay, and one other thing, we forgot this one. Equals C 36 divided by 12. Okay. Okay. Now we've got it all. So we've got $25.91 a month in expenses on this property. Okay. Before even factoring in a mortgage, that's $31,000 a year. Now, these are the numbers that you use in order to figure out a cap rate. You don't figure out a cap rate with the mortgage included. Okay. We don't do that. Right. That's not the way a cap rate is figured out. Now, in order for you to be able to do that, what we need to do now is look at our total yearly expenses. Total yearly expenses as 31,000. And remember, our total yearly income is 102. So all we have to do is take 102, subtract, let me do it here for you guys, 102. And then we subtract from it 31,100. Let me do this.
I think you already have it there, where it says net income without mortgage. Isn't that the same thing on line 47?
Yeah, I just want to show you guys manually what it does. Okay, so you see the net income, 70,900. All I did was I took the 102, subtracted the 31, it gives you 70,900, which is the same as what we have here. I just want to show them manually how it's done. So now we take that 70,900 and then we divide it by the purchase price, but we don't know the purchase price. What was the purchase price? Well, remember, we just played around with these numbers, right? And we said that at a 9 cap, it would be 787. Okay. So what we could do is just manually take our calculators out and we can see if that works. So we take the, what was it? 787?
787.
Yeah. So 70,900 divided by 787. Sorry, I hit the wrong button. 70,900 divided by 787,777. That equals a 9 cap exactly. So if you guys take out your calculators and you do that, you divide 70,900 divided by the entire purchase price of 787, it gives you a 9 cap. Okay, so that's exactly how this little model, how it calculated that for us. All it did was it took the NOI, the net operating income, and it divided it by the sale price. So that's how it's done. It's very easy. Okay, so this obviously already did it for us. We got the number right here. Okay, but what we need to look at, which is very important as well, is what's our net income? What is our net income with with a mortgage? Because we want to also look at that, because this is going to show us, is there somebody out there who is actually going to be willing to buy this place? Is there someone who's going to be willing to pay for this place? Because what if it's priced right in the seller's opinion, but the buyers look at it, they're like, this makes no money. I'm losing money every month. So what we have to do is we have to figure out what that expense looks like with the mortgage as well. So the way you do that is just by, let's see. This here was erased, so let me just plug it in real quick. Equals B35 through B42. Let's see if that works. Or I could just do this. Equals sum B35 through B42. Okay, there we got it. All right, so now this has figured out for us the total of everything: our mortgage, our taxes, our insurance, everything. It's $7,187 a month. Okay, that is going to cost somebody with a mortgage to have this place, or $86,000 a year. Now, what we want to look at is what is our net income with and without a mortgage, right? So what do we need to look at with net income with and without a mortgage? So it says here that for some reason our net income with no mortgage is $5,908 a month, but I don't think that's correct, is it?
It sounds very little.
No, this sounds like on a monthly basis, this sounds like a lot. So see B28 minus
Without the mortgage, that should be good.
without the mortgage?
Yeah.
Because how much total income we have 8,500 total a month. Okay, yeah, okay, so that is correct. That is correct. So if you're buying this cash, you're making $5,908 a month, or $70,000 a year if you're buying it completely in cash. Because remember, we're dealing with a pretty nice cap rate here. We're dealing with a 9 cap, which is pretty good. That's really good for a buyer. Now, this is the important part: net income with a mortgage. So now, once you suck out $4,500 a month for the mortgage payment, you actually still have $1,300 left every month, which is really good, right? That's still really good for a person with a mortgage, because guess what? They're only putting down, this is $1,312 a month, right? Or $15,000 a year. They're only putting down $196,000 out of their own pocket. That's their down payment. So 196,000 and you're getting back 15,000 every year. That's your cash on cash return at that point is pretty good as well. Because look, if we look down here, your cap rate on your down payment is 8%. That's still a lot better than you're going to get pretty much anywhere in the market, anywhere in your bank. That doesn't really exist. So this is a really good cap rate for a buyer just on their cash alone. Now, if they have no mortgage, then their cap rate is 9%. Okay. So good. This is a pretty good deal if somebody was going to get at 9%. Now let's use the numbers that Ivania's client wanted to use, 6%, let's say. Or maybe even 5. She probably wanted, what did she want, Ivani? Did she tell you? She expressed.
Well, they have it listed for 1.4, but their contractor was telling them 4 or 5.
Okay, 1.4, that's a 5 cap. Okay, so if we use a 5 cap, that's 1.4. Now let's go back to these numbers down here now that you guys know what we're talking about. Okay, so now look at these numbers. Net income without a mortgage, that doesn't change. It's still 5,900 a month. It's still 70,000 a year. But the net income with a mortgage now, the buyer is losing 2363 a month, and they're losing 28,000 a year.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah, so now their cap rate is still a 5% if they buy it all cash. But look at what happens now with their down payment cap rate. So remember, the down payment's 100 and, oh, the down payment now, wait, the down payment ballooned. I forgot. The down payment ballooned because we changed the price. So now they have to put $354,000 down as a down payment. And now they're losing 8% a year. What investor with half a brain would sign up to this? And this is the way you explain it to your clients. Like, look, does this look
Luis,
like a deal?
she does have a mortgage, so can you go back because she said she has a rate of 4.5? Can we change the 7 to 4.5 just because she keeps saying they might keep it because of the rate?
Yeah. So if she changes it to 4.5, but remember her mortgage is less. She doesn't owe what we have on here. What is her mortgage amount? Like her mortgage amount is probably different. Her loan amount is probably not 1.4 million. Sorry, I did this wrong. 0.4. Okay. All right, got it. Yeah, but remember her loan amount's not gonna be 1.4. So do you know what her loan amount is?
She has a loan against it for 660,000.
Okay, so for her, it's she on this property right now, if let's see, this has to change, all of this has to change because in order for us to make sense of this, it would have to change. So let's see right now. Okay, don't worry about this part of it, or don't worry about any of it. Let's just look at this. We're gonna manually calculate this, guys, because the calculator here is based off of our numbers up here, and there is no sale price. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you how to manually do this right now. Okay, so what we're gonna do is she has on a monthly basis, she has, yeah, we're gonna do it all manually. I'm gonna show you guys how to do this right now. So let me go to stop share. And we're going to go to a whiteboard. Okay, so here's a whiteboard because you guys haven't seen one before. Okay, so she owes 660,000 and she has a 4.5% interest rate.
Correct.
Okay, do you know if that's amortized or do you know if that's interest only?
No, I don't know that.
It's probably amortized, right? So that means that you have to pay principal and interest every month, not just interest. So what we do is we pull out our mortgage calculator, we plug in, let me see if I can.
She said cash flow is very good at our rate, 4.5%, reducing our mortgage with the PMI. Now it's done.
Okay, yeah, so she's got principal and interest she's paying. Okay, so we're gonna go to 660. And her rate is 4.5. I'm using my phone. You guys know how to do this, right? On your phone, you can just download a mortgage calculator app. Okay. Is she on a 30-year mortgage, or do you know if it's less than 30 years?
No, I didn't ask that.
Okay. Let's just say she has a 20, let's just keep a 30, just to give her the benefit of the doubt. Okay, so what that tells us now is she pays 3,344 dollars a month. That's what she pays. So we know that this is her mortgage. Let me put in here mortgage, and then we know she has go back to the whiteboard. And then we know she has insurance, electric, taxes, water, sewer, all these things, right? So what we want to do now is we want to figure out what her net income is going to be. All right. So we know that the property makes $8,500 a month. Right, because we said in the best case scenario, she goes to rent it out. She's going to make $8,500 a month. We're going to subtract from that number the $3,344 a month for mortgage, minus $250 a month for insurance, minus $1,333 for taxes, minus $250 for water and sewer, minus $83 for miscellaneous, and minus $425 for vacancy, and then minus $250 for maintenance. So we've got her netting, her NOI monthly is $2,565 a month. Okay, so that's what she's netting monthly. So for her, Ivania, for her to keep it, it's a good deal. I mean, for her to keep it, move out, and not rent it to anyone, she's cash flowing times 12. She's on a yearly basis, she's making 2,565 times 12. She's making $30,000 a year. She's making on a yearly basis $3,780 a year. So very powerful. This is a good property for her to keep her hands on if she could. But like you said, if she's having problems with her partner, or there's other issues going on that we don't know about, then that is yeah, it's not a good thing. But let's just figure out what her cap rate is, right? Because I don't know what she paid for it. We don't know. She could have paid 660 or 700. We don't know what she paid for it. But her cap rate, if we just figure out her monthly income versus what she owes, so all we have to do, guys, is take this 30,000 number, 30,780, and divide it by 660. What does that equal? Let's see. 30,780 divided by 660. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. No, that's correct.
0.6.
No, it's coming out wrong for some reason. Oh, you know why it's coming out wrong? I apologize. It's coming out wrong for me because I included the mortgage payment. So if I took out the mortgage, if I include the mortgage payment, she still has a very good cap rate divided by 660.
Yeah, it says 4.6.
Yeah, 4.6. That's with a mortgage, right? So without a mortgage, we don't include her mortgage payment, which it doesn't make sense because she has one. But she's she's killing it over here. If we did the numbers based on just her down payment, like let's just say she put 100 grand down. If she only put 100 grand down, like her cash on cash return is probably going to be ridiculous. It's probably going to be sick, because if you take 30,780 and you divide it by, let's say she put down 150,000. Let's say she put down 150,000 when she bought it. And she probably didn't. She probably bought it with 3.5% down FHA, that's probably what she did. If you say that she put down 150K as a down payment, that means that her cap rate right now is 20.5%. That's just incredible. Let's just say she bought that with an FHA loan, which she most likely did. Let's say she put down 3.5%. Let's say she paid 700 for it times 3.5%. Let's say she put down $24,500. That was her down payment with FHA. If she did it with FHA, then that means her return right now, guys. Let's just see what this is. Divided by 24,500. is 125%. So if she's selling this property right now and she's making $2,500 a month, she's recuperating her money in less than a year every year. Because if she used FHA, that means she probably only put down 24,500, which you know her better than us. She probably did. That means that in just 9 months or 10 months, she makes back her down payment. Every 9 months, she makes her down payment back. How crazy is that? Right? This is
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
nice, very nice property for her to keep. So the fact that she's trying to sell it is probably not the smartest thing in the world, unless she really doesn't want to own it anymore. But what's also not the smartest thing in the world is to not look at what the next person is going to be profiting on it, because that's the only way she's going to move it. I know this is a lot of math and I kind of get sucked into this stuff when I start going off, but does anyone have any questions, or did I lose anyone on this?
No.
No, I mean, you guys can, I don't know, some of you might be like, you know what, can you repeat this part again? It's okay. I mean, I don't mind.
Dude, if
And
I
we
have,
lost your camera, you know.
Oh, did I? Oh, okay, let me switch
Yeah.
cameras.
The computer couldn't take all the math.
Oh, that's probably what melted down the computer. Okay. All right. All right. Yeah, a lot of math I'm throwing at you, but let me just show you now how, remember Sarah earlier said, look, I have a client who doesn't care if they make $200 a month on it. They just want to get their foot in the door. How can I figure that out?
Louis, he actually just sent me a property. Can I give you the numbers?
Yeah, give me the address and then we'll look at the numbers.
Sure. 3505 North Oaks in North Brunswick.
All right.
It's Boulevard, I'm
3505.
sorry. 3505 North Oak Boulevard, North Brunswick.
Okay, got it.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is the property that her client's looking at. It's a condo, I would assume?
Yes.
Okay. 370,000 is what they're asking for it, and the taxes on this property are, let's see. Taxes are
7,104.
7,104.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Hold on to that number. Okay. So we're gonna
Okay.
use that.
Asking price is 329.
This is not the right property then? It's off market, it says. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong unit.
3505.
Oh, 3505. Okay.
Yes. But
Okay.
this is a good number, 370, because that's the after repair value, or after the after renovation value will be 370.
Okay. Got it. Yeah, this is what it said is worth, more or less like 370. Okay.
Yes.
So let's look at those numbers. Okay, we're gonna do this together.
Thank you.
No problem. So let me clear this out of the way. If I know how. Okay, I don't know how to clear that out. So we're gonna go 370,000. What are they asking for? 329?
Correct.
329. Okay. Price. And do you know how much rent you can get for this place?
I don't, but across
What's
the
your-
street they
Yeah, what does your
can
gut tell you?
at 2,500.
2,500 monthly.
Yes.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, so we know that the price is 329 and we know there's $2,500 monthly. What kind of interest rate you think your client's gonna get right now?
6.9.
6.9% rate. Okay, is that principal and interest, right? I would assume? Correct.
Yes.
All right, cool. And you said the taxes are
7,104.
and 4. All right, awesome. All right, so let's do this. First, let's pull, go ahead.
Louis, I'm sorry, but there is an HOA fee.
Oh, HOA, yeah.
145.
145 HOA.
They don't cover the siding or the roof.
Okay, but it's a mandatory expense. Okay, so how much of a down payment is he going to put?
20%.
20% down. Is he going to pay full price?
Um,
Let's just say he did.
okay.
That's 65,800, right? Down payment. All right, cool. All right, so we're gonna take our calculators again, our mortgage calculators out, and we're gonna figure out what's his monthly payment every month. And if we're using a $329,000, 329,000 down payment is going to be 20%. Okay, and then the rate is 6.9
Correct.
and 30-year. Okay, and you said okay. So what we have now is 1,000. If I'm correct, is $1,733.44.
It's not bad.
Awesome. All right. So that's his mortgage payment. Now we know that we have HOA, we have insurance, and we have tax, right? So
Yes.
now from this, we have to then take away the HOA. So we have to then subtract the 145, subtract the insurance, which is on his condo. Usually what in condos, guys, they have what's called a master insurance policy, which covers the outside and covers the general areas, but your interior is not covered. So for instance, if you guys lost your TV, you lost all the stuff in a fire, that's on you. So you still have to pay insurance. So let's just say on this one, it's $150 a month. Okay, let's go with that. And the tax, can somebody tell me what tax is?
7,000.
Yeah, what is that monthly?
Oh, what is it monthly? Okay. Oh,
It's about $590 a month, $595 a month. Is that correct?
I don't think I'm doing it right.
7104 divided by 12, 592. Okay, 592. All right, so we've got now, let's do the math. 1733 minus 145 minus 150 minus 592. That leaves you with every month $846 a month in profit, right? That's after the mortgage. Okay, so that's what more, no, I'm sorry. These are your, what am I doing? Oh my God, the heck was I doing? Sorry, guys. We have to figure out our total expenses. That's not our income. So we have to total these. So we got 1733.44 plus 145 plus 150 plus 592. Okay. So the total now with all these expenses comes out
So
to
it's
2,000.
pluses, Lewis, not
Yeah, because
minuses?
for some reason,
Okay.
I apologize. I was taking the mortgage payment
Sure.
as the income. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
We have, these are all expenses. All of these are expenses. The mortgage is an expense, the HOA is an expense, the insurance is an expense, and tax is an expense. So
Got
now we
it.
know that $26.20 a month is what it's gonna cost your client every month, right? If he's renting it, you said for $2,500 monthly, then that means he's losing right off the back. He's losing $120 a month.
Yeah.
Okay. So one of two things has to give. Either he gets it at a lower price, at a lower interest rate, right? And sometimes you can buy down points in order to get a lower rate. Because right now it's not going to cash flow for him. So his cap rate is going to be negative. Okay. So
Understand.
yeah, it's gonna be negative on his cash on cash. Now, if he were to buy this with no mortgage, then obviously his cap rate would be really pretty nice, but he is buying it with a mortgage. So we have to look at it from a perspective of, an investor buying with a loan.
Lewis, if he puts down 25%, would that change the numbers?
If you put down 25%,
Yeah.
let's look at 25% down instead of 20. Of course, it would change the numbers, but let's see how much of a difference it would make. So go with 25. That would make the mortgage payment $1,625.
So
this
not
would
a
be,
much different.
yeah, it will go down by $100. So then that would kind of get him down to breaking even. But if his goal is to make a couple $100 a month, he really has to work on this, which is the interest rate. You got to get that down closer to a 6.
Okay.
All right.
So he has the option of buying points putting a bigger down payment or
Yeah.
lowering the asking price?
Yeah, a combination of all three.
Okay, so is there a rule of thumb about these properties that need to be fixed? Like how much is a good offer price?
Um, properties that need to be fixed, what is a good offer price? Yeah, my rule of thumb when you're buying as an investor,
Yeah,
if you're thinking about flipping it, is you don't want to pay any more than 65 to 70% of its ARV, after repair value.
so it's supposed to be like 370 after it's
So
all
then
fixed.
if you can find a deal, and this is if you're flipping it, that's worth 370, you multiply it by 70%, you should be offering somewhere around 260,000. That's my rule of thumb. That's necessarily not what everyone follows. A lot of people buy higher than that. But if you're really trying to make some money, then 65 to 70. Now, if you're keeping this as a rental, then you can use something like 75 to 80% of the ARV, after repair value. Okay. And then that number would be something like 370 times 370 times 80% would be 296. So it just depends on what your client is looking to do. If he's looking to keep it as a rental or if he's thinking about flipping it, you got to have certain margins. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, he's doing both. I mean, the house needs a lot of renovation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So he
because
wants to do
imagine,
both.
oh yeah, so it needs a lot of renovation, but is he going to keep it or is he going to flip it? He's open to both.
Yes.
Okay. So for a house that's on the market and just maybe hit the market, you're probably not going to get the seller to unwind, at these kind of margins, at these kinds of numbers. That's why I always encourage you, Sarah, to look elsewhere than the MLS. Like the other day, you showed me a house that sold at sheriff's sale for what? I think it was like 65 or 60% of, or even, I think it was even less. I think it was like 57% of its ARV, right?
Correct.
And so if you're really looking for deals that are like way home runs, it's hard to find those on the MLS. You're gonna
Can
probably
I?
get,
Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah,
I thought I could jump in.
no problem, go for it.
Finish up, Louis. I just have a question. Go ahead, finish up.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say that if your client's looking for home runs, then the MLS is not where you're probably gonna find them. If your client's looking for base hits, then yeah, you can find them on the MLS, if you negotiate correctly between the initial negotiation and then with the inspection repairs, because that's where you can make up for it with inspections.
Can I just bring something? Let me know if that's a good idea. Also, when you checking out an investment property that needs repair, it's also good to have at least 3 quotes of how much it would take to fix it, because the materials are high.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is so expensive in Home Depot and the other store. That is something also that has to be taken into consideration. How much is the investment going to be?
Yeah, absolutely. Construction is a major part of it. And
Right.
that's why you want to be real conservative when you make an offer, especially for a client that you're looking to build a long relationship with, because you don't want to stick somebody with a property that they're stuck with or they have to take a loss on just to get rid of. You got to be patient with them in finding a property. And if you want to shortcut that, you have to be creative as far as where you find those properties. Maybe you find them off market, like Belinda's doing right now with sending out postcards and doing seller seminars, all those things, because those are avenues that you'll be able to get better deals because there's no competition. The other way you get good deals is if you go to like a sheriff's sale, or you go to if you start doing outside the box type things that you find them. Maybe I know a friend of mine, he does a lot of probate. That might be another avenue. So you just gotta, if you're really gonna be working with investors, you gotta have more than one tool in your belt. But as far as commercial goes, you guys now have a better understanding of how to figure out these things. I know it was a lot to throw out of you, and this was meant to be a one time and that's it type of training for you guys to understand how cap rates work and how investment properties go. But I think as far as a bird's eye view, I think you guys learned a lot about what to look for when you're trying to figure out a client's a client's perspective on making money, especially on a commercial deal. And then also we looked at it from a residential deal. You know, it's not that much different. It's not that different at all. It really just comes down to breaking down the numbers, whether you're breaking them down for 5 units or you're breaking it down for one single unit. You could break it down for 50 units and it doesn't change anything. You still look at the same parameters. Make sense?
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. Yeah, sorry, we went over a lot on this one. I just thought that maybe, you know, we should definitely cover all that stuff. And you guys had questions, I just keep going. Anything else you guys want to add before we cut out?
Yeah, you
This
just want
was
to
really
say
good.
thank you. You just want to say thank you, Louis.
No problem, Tanya. Thank you guys for being here.
Can you please send us this recording?
Yeah, well, it's on our channel. It's on the Culture
Oh,
University
okay.
channel. Yeah, I'll send it out to the group when we're done.
Last thing I want to remind everybody is that especially dealing with these investors and we're dealing with people that are stuck in the past, if we see any glimpse of light in what they're trying to do, remember that God's ways are ingenious and his methods are sure. So trust.
Yeah.
Trust.
Well said.
Because all things are possible.
Absolutely.
What we think, what we think may not be something good, but it's because we're moving forward and what we trust in, it'll happen.
Yeah, it's a
Things will
blessing.
always work out.
The blessing in disguise. Yeah, sorry guys for all the phone calls today. I think somebody put up a new listing and keep calling. Apologize.
One last thing, Brianna just got a email from onboarding about mentorship.
Mhm.
Can anybody jump in and request and just give her a hand holding with that? Just explain to her what that email is.
Yeah. So when you first join eXp Realty, if you've never closed any deals before, if you're brand new to the business, then they're going to assign you to a local mentor. That's a person who's going to help you navigate the market, understand the basic trainings and the basic elements of being a real estate agent. But if you've closed at least 3 deals in the last 12 months, then you're not considered to be a new agent. Then you can just bypass the mentorship. Okay, so Brianna, is she brand new or is she
Yes,
seasoned?
brand new. She
Okay.
just got a license.
Okay, good. So you're going to really benefit from that because not only are you going to have Belinda as your partner in this business, but you're also going to have a local mentor who's going to really be there for you in case you need someone to, you know, go that extra mile or maybe go to you could shadow them on their listings, you know, that way you can kind of, you know, feel, you know, what a professional sounds like. So yeah, take advantage of that, really go through all the steps. And we also have a training called the Fast Track program for new agents. And that what it does is it brings you up to speed to be able to then like start, because when you come out of school, real estate school, you just know the laws and the basics of understanding the lingo. You don't know about sales, you don't know about contracts, you don't really know about anything. So take the Fast Track program and then listen to everything your mentor is telling you, and you'll be in good shape. In 30 days, you'll be ready. You'll be good.
Thank you.
No problem, Brianna. All right, awesome. Anyone else? You're muted, Raquel. Is Raquel talking to us? I think she's muted.
I think she's talking to somebody else.
Oh, she's yelling at Joe. Oh, that's what she's doing. Okay. All right, got it. All right, cool. So let's cut out. I'll go close out with our prayer. Dear Lord, dear Father, thank you so much for giving us the ability to be here today. Thank you for the knowledge that you have allowed us to understand and use, Father, for our business. We ask you to forgive us for our sins and to protect us, Father, as you have done so, and then allow us to also use this information throughout the week to help our families and help ourselves and our business, Father. We know that you are the perfect partner, and we ask you to always be a part of everything we do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Thank you, guys. Have an
Amen.
amazing day and
Thank
amazing
you.
week.
Have a
Thank
good
you,
day.
Hugo. Smile. I want
Take
to
care,
look at
guys.
Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.
you. Have a good week.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.